Today we're going to give you your very first lesson in using Cricut Design Space. So come on with me, we're going to have some fun. The Cricut has become a very, very well-known crafting item. It is a machine. And it can cut everything from felt and cardstock all the way up to thin balsa wood, leather, suede, and it can cut out patterns for sewing. Yes, it can cut out patterns for sewing. So the newest machine that's out is the Cricut Maker 3. This is the machine that can do the most, that can cut the most different types of materials, but I'm not discounting the Cricut Maker and I'm not discounting the Explore family. They all work great. It just matters on what you want to be able to accomplish using your Cricut, what kinds of materials you cut. If you're strictly a card maker, you don't need to have the Maker 3. If you like to cut all kinds of different types of fabrics and materials like I do, then that's why I wanted the Cricut Maker 3. So let's start with Design Space. Design Space itself is the world of Cricut. Everything that is performed with the Explore and the Maker family is all done through Cricut Design Space. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is download Cricut Design Space. You can find that in the App Store on your iPad, your phone, or you can download it also for your computer. The great thing is with Design Space, you can save things to the device that you're working on, or you can save them to the cloud. You can then pick up your phone and continue editing or doing whatever it is that you'd like to do with your project. Same goes for your computer. So that in itself is a pretty cool thing. Say you're working on something and you got to take the kids to practice. Take your iPad with you, take your phone with you while you're sitting there waiting for the kids to get out. You could be sitting there working on that birthday present, the birthday card, or whatever it is that you were working on prior, so that it's ready to be cut when you get home. So let's first download Design Space. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the App Store and we are going to download Cricut Design Space. It's a free app. So here is the screen that you're going to see when you download Cricut Design Space. If you have not signed in before, I ask you to register. So here's create a Cricut ID. So you'll just go through, put your name in, pick out a password, and fun stuff. So I'm just going to go ahead and sign in. Now, when it comes to your machine, it is going to be either the Cricut Maker 3, the Explore 3, the Cricut Joy, the Cricut Maker, or other of the Cricut Explore family. So I'm going to be using the Cricut Maker 3. I have it turned on right now because we can use this with Bluetooth. We don't have to be tied to the computer. That's the one thing I love. So we're going to make sure the Cricut is on and we are going to pair this using Bluetooth. And it may take a couple of seconds for it to find the Cricut, but once it does, you're just going to press on it and then you'll be connected via Bluetooth. And it does say it could take a couple minutes. All right, so I'm activated over here. I'm just gonna continue. In the box, when you first get your Cricut, is gonna be a little package and it is going to have the materials to make a very first test cut. They're usually a sticker or something that you can actually decorate your Cricut. It's just a few things here and you get to pick out which one that you want. We're going to go ahead and skip this for now because I've already done it. So once you sign into Cricut, after you've already downloaded and you have hooked up your machine, You're going to sign in. And you're going to come to this page. And this is kind of like your main page, your home page, if you want to call it. And there's all kinds of different things that can be made. Some of them, the images will be free. Some of them, the images will cost a little bit of money. $1.99, $2.99, something like that. But once you purchase the image, it's yours. There is also something that is called Cricut Access. And here in the little green box, here is an A. All the way across here, you'll see them on a lot of these different things. That is a subscription that you can purchase that is good for a year if you purchase by the year, or you can purchase by the month. If you choose not to do that and you come across something that you'd really like to make and it costs money, all you have to do is pay for it, and I believe it comes out of your PayPal account. So before you're able to cut it or write it or do whatever it is you're going to do, you'll have to pay for it first. Okay, once we're signed in, this is the screen that is going to come up. And it's going to show you some of the new projects that are available that are either through Cricut Access or maybe that are free that you may be wanting to use. So for right now, you have two ways to get to your canvas. Here is the plus button at the bottom, or here is a canvas button. So right now I want to start with just a blank canvas. So this comes up with nothing on it. At the bottom is what is called an image screen. So I'm going to click image, and I want to see if I can find a really cool pumpkin or something. So I'm going to just put in the word pumpkin. And let's just do this one. Everything, and you can add multiple items, and they're just going to start showing up here at the bottom of the screen. Once you're satisfied with what you have brought here, you can add them to your canvas, or if you've decided that there's a couple of these things you don't want to use, you can go ahead and click on it and a trash can shows up. Then you click on it again and it takes it off. I'm going to remove a couple of these items here, and we're just going to stick with the one pumpkin. I'm going to add it to my canvas now. Pretty simple design here, and this is going to help us as I explain a few of the other things. Okay, so we've added an image, and they now have phrases. With all of the upgrades and updates that Cricut Design Space does, they have added some really cool things recently that you were only able to get before on your computer. The iPad and the iPhone were not able to do all of the functions, or are not able to do all the functions that a computer will. So it's nice that they're finding ways to be able to allow us to be using the iPhone and the iPad versus just being tethered to your computer. So what they've done here is they've added phrases, and a lot of people are making signs and doing all that kind of fun stuff these days. So I think that might have been why they added that to it. But let's see if we can find something that goes along with the Halloween scheme. Okay. All right. Let's just do something quick that just says Happy Halloween. I'm going to add that to it. And most everything that gets added, they all end up on top of each other. So you just have to move them around. Make this a little bit bigger. Okay. So now we have a couple of images on here. And if we wanted to make a card, there's some things that we'd like to do to it, but I'm going to walk you through everything here. Text down here at the bottom also is going to come up with a text box here, and it automatically goes to a Cricut font. It's kind of the go-to, but you can change that later. So I'm going to just put in somebody's name, and the name is Chris. Okay. Now I'm going to get this out of the way so we can work with this. And maybe I want to send a card to Chris that says Happy Halloween. Okay, so now we have our three elements. We've picked out an image, we've picked out a phrase, and then we've also added a text. Now, down here along the bottom is your your menu. And we have images, which are those, phrases, which is this, text, which is this, and now we have shapes. And we're just gonna pick out a rectangle. And I'm gonna make this larger so we can see it. All right. And then there's upload. Now, upload lets you take something from your computer, your iPad, or your phone and import it into Cricut Design Space. There's some work that needs to be done to most of these things in order to make them a file that you can cut, or you can also end up doing a print then cut, which is something down the road that I'll explain later. So for right now, we're going to think that this is going to be a card. And I want to make these things smaller because they're not going to fit on that card. So let's just make these small for right now. And they're all just separate items. And I'm going to change the color of this, okay? I'll explain this part later, but let's just make it green. At least it's not another black piece on the canvas. So we can, I call it biggerize or smallerize our canvas, because these images are pretty little. So I want to make this larger so we can see it easy. All right, we've talked about our upload button and what we can do with that. Like I said, that's going to be down the road a lot. There's a whole lot of other things that we need to learn before we worry about uploading images. So we have our action button here, and if we press that, another menu comes up. These are all grayed out because we haven't selected anything we're going to be doing here. So let's select the green. I can either delete it or I can duplicate it. Pretty simple. And pretty much there's nothing else you can do with it because it's just one simple item. So let's go to the edit button. Now with this green box, I can see right here that it's telling me it's a basic cut. It's just a regular old cut. When it gets put on the mat, it's just going to cut out this square, okay? It also tells me that it's green. The next thing under the edit button is going to be your width and height of what this is showing right now. It says it's 10.34 wide by 6.89 high. Well, it's also telling us this right here, up here, 10.34 by 6.89. Now, if I make this larger or smaller, it's going to stay in proportion. And what I mean by in proportion is it's not going to get skewed in any way, okay? But if I unlock back here, if I unlock this little gray button down here, I can do all kinds of things with this, okay? So with this being the size that it is, I want to make sure that it's going to be able to cover the whole thing. So we'll just go with this size for right now. But back to edit. So we have our height and our width. If we wanted to rotate this, we could. We're just rotating by degree. Or I can undo and see if I can get that right back to where it was. 0. There we go. And then we have our horizontal position and our vertical position. This is just telling me where it is on the screen. The newest button that they have put on is called an offset. And I think what I'll do is I'll show you an offset with the word Chris. So a lot of people were making really cool stickers and things like that, but they wanted the background to conform to what the letters looked like. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. But we had trouble doing that by ourselves. So you'd end up putting circles and all kinds of different things. At least that's how I did it, and tried to weld them together to make this space look right. But now they have made the offset button. Now it automatically puts a little cloud around the back of the words, but you can make this larger or smaller. Let's see how it'll disappear. And this can be pretty intricate. You see how, let's back it up a little bit. It literally is almost coming up with a separate letter within the letter. Or you can do a really big one and it just kind of looking like the cloud. Now, the corners can be or curvy, or they can be more sharp. Oh, let's back this one up just a bit, a little bit more. All right, I want that to be separated. There we go. A little bit more. There we go. I wanted to get rid of that little dot that was in the S. Okay, so now we can keep that. And they are separate pieces. So if you wanted to do something like that, that's pretty cool. Okay, so back to the word Chris. The other thing too is we can use our alignment. Now, we can align to the left, the center, the right, top, center, or bottom, or we can wrap our text. All right, so if I align them center, now both of them are sitting on top of each other. So now we can align, and the newest version lets us curve our wording. Look at that. Is that just the coolest thing ever? So if you wanted your wording to go around a circle of some sort or whatever, you can do that design and bring that curve way in, way out. Okay. So that's kind of cool too. So let's take that same text. We've curved it now. And the next operation here is your basic cut. That's what is telling me what I have highlighted is being cut. Now, there are all kinds of different options. There are different blades that go with the Cricut, which you purchase separately. Your fine point blade is the one that will come with your machine. So that would be your basic cut. There's a wavy and perforated. So those will be blades that you can use, and you just have to tell it that you're going to be using those. If you want to draw, are you drawing with a pen? Do you want to score, deboss, engrave, or print and cut? Okay. So it's just telling us the operation that's going on right now. So let's get out of this. And it also is telling me what color this is. The top row is telling me every color that is in the canvas right now. These are optional colors for you that must be just kind of popular, different colors. You have your screen here where you can pick different colors. I mean, there's a million to choose from. You can use the slide bar and go to different coloring and then pick out what you want, or you can add, I believe this one is a hex code, okay? So what I want to do is go with that color right there. All right, so now that we've done that, this is telling us what the width and the height is of this word, and it's 4.4 by 1.86, I believe. It's also telling me that right up here. Okay, so I have two places to be able to see it from. It also is telling me that my little lock is unlocked, which means I can do anything crazy with this, okay? But if I lock it, it's going to only allow me to move it and make it smaller or larger with keeping it in the perspective that it's in, okay? We can rotate it. Okay, just by a degree or so here and there. Okay, and let's see, we got that and that. Rotate. It's telling me its vertical position and its horizontal position on the mat. We did the offset already. Now arrange. Let's just put these two pieces on top of each other. And I want to I've got Chris highlighted, and what I want to do is move that to the back. It's sitting on top of the offset right now, but I want to move the word Chris back. Okay, we're going to do that. Now, if I wanted to change my mind, we're going to bring Chris back to the front. Okay. Now, when you have multiple layers, you're able to move something forward, backward, to the back, or to the front, okay? So that helps you be able to move things up slowly. The other thing I want to do is Horizontally, I can change this. So now it's backwards. Make it forward again, or I can vertically do it. So it's upside down, right side up. So sometimes, let's say you want to make a birthday card and it's got a circle on it and you've got the word happy birthday all the way around it. You want to be able to make that work. Then you may want to turn this upside down and do it that way. Okay, so enough with the word Chris. So now let's finish with some of the other buttons here. In the edit, it's telling me that we have the font as Cricut Sans, if I remember correctly. But you can change that font, and there's many of them you can choose from. One of my favorites. Taking a second. There you go. Okay, so now on this edit button, the other thing too is it's telling me that it is a regular style. Some of these are going to have a bold style, only a writing style. So you can check that out. So these fonts give you many options. Now, we've gone through everything here. I'm going to show you what the inside looks like now.